Sarah Ogan, Sarah just died this last winter. She introduced this next song saying, "My name is Sarah Ogan, and every word of this is true. I hate the capitalist system. I'll tell you the reason why. It's caused me so much suffering, and my dearest friends to die. Perhaps you'll be wondering what it has done to me. Well, I will tell you right now, my husband has TB, brought on by hard work and low wages, and not enough to eat. Going naked and hungry, no shoes upon his feet. I had a blue-eyed baby, the darling of my heart. But from my blue-eyed baby, its mother had to part. Oh, them rich and mighty coal owners, all dressed in jewels and silk, while my darling blue-eyed baby, she starved to death for milk. Oh, what can we do about it? To work to set things right. I tell you, Mr. Capitalist, we're gonna fight, fight, fight.
Right, here goes. So we tried to do a live recording of the audio of this, but it was just way too much going on at once. So we're giving it a shot in post now. But yeah, here goes. So over the past wee bit, I've been collecting a bunch of union songs and like protest songs and different political folk records. And I've been finding it really fascinating to come across some of them. I feel like they give a really beautiful look into like the history of our movements, the movements that have shaped the society we live in today. And for me, I find it very empowering to learn about the ways in which people have come together in the past to fight for what they believe in, and the creative ways that those people have succeeded. And yeah, not only do a lot of the songs we're going to play in this mix tell the stories of these movements and these protests, but also because they're physical records, they tend to come with like liner notes or like detailed information on the outside sleeves about with the stories of how the songs or the albums came to be. And I've found reading that context added a lot more meaning to the songs for me. So I thought for this mix it might be a nice idea to put on an instrumental song every so often, and do some speaking over the top to share some of that context with you. So for a bit of context on us, I'm Mark, and my partner Hannah is going to be joining me today, and we're putting this out there on the Pickle Community Radio. And I also just wanted to say, like, first and foremost, this goes out in solidarity with anyone who is striking at the moment or who is involved in striking.
Hello, I am Hannah, and by the time you're listening to this, we're very close to the spring equinox, around which we plant the seeds for what we'll be growing this year. So it's a perfect time to dream up plans and wishes for the coming season. I hope you enjoy the mix.
Women left the kitchen sink, left the beds unmade. Women left the school and shop and joined the barricade. Women came from everywhere like we never had before to join the miners in the strike of 1984. We're in the Women's Union, we're all together now. We're fully paid up members and we've taken the union vow. We know where we're going and we know the reason why. We're the Women's Union and we're aiming for the sky. Way back in the good old days when men went out to picket, women scraped for food and coal wherever they could get it. We greeted scouts with dustbin lids, then with lifelong silence. And we were there, always there, the women and the miners. We're in the Women's Union, we're all together now. We're fully paid up members and we've taken the union vow. We know where we're going and we know the reason why. We're the Women's Union and we're aiming for the sky. I'll never forget the 14 months of 1984. A penny was like a pound at home, McGregor was at the door. We ran soup kitchens, spoke at rallies, rattled collecting tins, faced the cops on the picket line and always fought to win. We're in the Women's Union, we're all together now. We're fully paid up members and we've taken the union vow. We know where we're going and we know the reason why. We're the Women's Union and we're aiming for the sky. Men, learn to cook and wash. Children, learn to sew. Stand there at the kitchen door and watch the women go. We're going where the action is to carry on the fight. Though the miners' strike is over, long live the miners' strike. We're in the Women's Union, we're all together now. We're fully paid up members and we've taken the union vow. We know where we're going and we know the reason why. We're the Women's Union and we're aiming for the sky. When nurses strike for better pay, join the picket line. When printers hold the boss at bay, join the picket line. When workers fight to win their rights, join the picket line. And we'll be there, always there, on the picket line. We're in the Women's Union, we're all together now. We're fully paid up members and we've taken the union vow. We know where we're going and we know the reason why. We're the Women's Union and we're aiming for the sky.
As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we battle too for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we come marching, marching, unnumbered women dead go crying through our singing their ancient song for bread. Small art and love and beauty, their drudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we come marching, marching, we bring the greater days. The rising of the women means the rising of the race. No more the drudge and idler tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories. Bread and roses, bread and roses.
So we just heard Women's Union, which is about the women supporting miners' strikes in 1984 in rejection of the pit closures. And after that we heard Bread and Roses, which, like, the phrase originates from the famous 1912 textile strikes, which were happening in Massachusetts. And one of the strikers was holding a sign that said Bread and Roses.
I was a bit confused actually when I first got this record. I'd known the song Bread and Roses for a while before, but when I got the record I noticed the album was called Bread and Raises, and I'd never heard of it referred to as that. And when we were reading the information on the back of the album, it tells the story of I guess the original phrase bread and roses came from the woman demanding the need for small luxuries in their life, that they deserved not just the necessity of bread but also some roses too. And it was a bit of a metaphor, I guess, but the bosses after those protests took it way too literally and gave them no increase in their pay or anything like that, and simply just started distributing roses along with their paychecks, which is obviously not quite what the women were asking for. So as a response to that, they changed their demands to asking for bread and raises as well, which is why the album goes by that name.
The next two songs that are coming up are both from Ireland. The first one is from an EP that was released to raise funds for protests against nuclear development in Council.
These protests were actually quite controversial at the time. I think even on the left, not everyone agreed with them, but they were ultimately successful, and I think so many people came out that the plans ended up being put to the side. After that, we have a really, really beautiful song that we both love, from an album by Andy Irvine and Paul Brady.
politicians talking, they never let us know. They make their decisions, they bring us pain and woe. Pain and woe. They'll tell us that this nuclear gives the energy we need, but they really mean that this way they can satisfy their greed. Satisfy their greed. No one needs this devil, we can't afford the chance. But that's where they'll line their pockets, and that's where we must stand. That's where we must stand. The sun provides the energy, the earth provides the seeds, and nature free to prosper, it will gladly fill our needs. Gladly fill our needs. But the cancer of this nuclear is the cancer of our times. This science of destruction, the crime beneath all crimes. Crime of crime. Crime of crime.
Oh, me and my cousin one Arthur McBride, as we went a-walking down by the seaside. Now Marco what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning, out for recreation we went on a tramp, and we met Sergeant Napper and Corporal Vamp, and a little wee drummer intending to camp, for the day being pleasant and charming. Good morning, the sergeant did cry, and the same to you gentlemen we did reply, intending no harm, but meant to pass by, for it being on Christmas morning. But says he, my fine fellows, if you will enlist, it's 10 guineas in gold I will slip in your fist, and a crown in the bargain for to kick up the dust and drink the king's health in the morning. For a soldier he leads a very fine life, and he always is blessed with a charming young wife, and he pays all his debts without sorrow or strife, and always lives pleasant and charming. And a soldier he always is decent and clean, in the finest of clothing he's constantly seen, while other poor fellows go dirty and mean, and sup on thin gruel in the morning. But says Arthur, I wouldn't be proud of your clothes, for you've only the lend of them, as I suppose, and you dare not change them one night, for you know if you do you'll be flogged in the morning. And although that we are single and free, we take great delight in our own company, and we have no desire strange faces to see, although that your offers are charming. And we have no desire to take your advance, all hazards and dangers we bar to run chance, for you would have no scruples for to send us to France, where we would get shot without warning. Oh, now says the sergeant, I'll have no such chat, and I neither will take it from spouting or brat, for if you insult me with one other word, I'll cut off your heads in the morning. And then Arthur and I, we soon drew our hearts, and we scarce gave them time for to draw their own blades, when a trusty shillelagh came over their heads and bade them take that as fair warning. And their own rusty rapiers that hung by their side, we flung them as far as we could in the tide. Now take them out, devils, cried Arthur McBride, and temper their edge in the morning. And the little wee drummer we flattened his pow, and we made a football of his rowdy-dow-dow, threw it in the tide for to rock and to roll, and bade it a tedious returning. And we haven't no money, paid them off in cracks, and we paid no respect to the two bloody backs, while we lathered them there like a bear wet sacks and left them for dead in the morning. And so to conclude and to finish disputes, we obligingly asked if they wanted recruits, for we were the lads who would give them hard clothes and bid them look sharp in the morning. Oh, me and my cousin one Arthur McBride, as we went a walking down by the seaside. Now Marco what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning.
So that song we just heard, called Arthur McBride, by Andy Irvine and Paul Brady. Yeah, I really love that song. We played it a lot around Christmas, actually. The story of the song is set on Christmas Day, so I've adopted it as a bit of a Christmas song. I'm not sure if that's how it was meant, but yeah, I think it's really beautiful. The song tells a story of two young boys who are out on a walk on Christmas Day. They're walking along the beach and they get approached by two army recruitment officers who are pestering them, trying to get them to join the army. The two boys are very against the idea of that and simply try to ignore the men and walk on. But they keep getting pestered, like telling them how good their lives are now in the army and how it's changed their lives, and it escalates to the point where they won't leave the boys alone, and things turn violent, and the song ends up with the two young boys throwing the soldiers' swords into the sea. The song we're listening to now is from another really, really beautiful record that I'd highly recommend listening to if you get the chance. I picked this one up from Greenhouse Records, which is a really lovely record shop just off the Meadows in Edinburgh. It's such a unique, like, folky album. I love putting this one on before bed. It's so beautiful to just relax to. It's by someone called Ignatz, and the album is The Drain. I'll put a track list in the comments if you want to listen to any of these songs. Go down and look at that.
So next up we have two of my favourite songs from two very beautiful albums. The first one is by Small Plant. They are artists, printmakers, musicians based in Devon, and yeah, it's a really beautiful album. I highly recommend it. And then the second song we're going to be listening to is from the Landworkers Alliance Stand Up Now album, which is a collection of landworkers songs, because the Landworkers Alliance is a union of land-based workers which are working for and campaigning for like food sovereignty and environmental justice. The song that you'll be listening to from that album is called the O'Halloran Sisters. Pay close attention to the lyrics because it tells the story of the sisters who weren't very happy with an eviction that they received kind of like late 1800s. It's a very enjoyable story.
Tonight it looks yellowy grey. And if a lake is but an island in a sea of land, what does that make? A lake on an island. Lie and wonder if the sky is really blue. Tonight it looks yellowy grey. Remember that the moon is whole when you see it in its present form. Full moon, blood moon, super moon. Lie and wonder if the sky is really blue. Tonight it looks yellowy grey.
I'll sing you a story that's not often told of three Irish women so brave and so bold. Fought off their landlord and never were sold. The O'Halloran sisters from the county of Clare. They lived with their folks in the town of Bodyke. They'd boycotted rent and were ready to fight, but the landlord had raised up his prices to pay for living on land they'd been on since old day. That brute was a bastard as mean as can be. I'm sure you can think of a few men like he. O'Callaghan family were owned by the Queen, supporting the Union and Cromwell's regime. The village bells rang out on eviction day. The land league had spread through the moors and the braes. To challenge the rich was to challenge the Brits, and we'll never be kicked by the Queen nor the Crown. Tear-I-oh, tear-I-oh, and a tear-I-hear-I-hear-I-ho. Challenge the rich was to challenge the Brits, and we'll never be kicked by the Queen nor the Crown. They chopped up the wood and they chopped it up right. They packed and they stacked, it was a wonderful sight. Piled up the branches and trunks of the tree, and hands filled with splinters they danced round with glee. And they lit up the fire and lit it up right. They fed and they tended it till it was bright. Lilted a song to each spark and each flame, and their skins were as warm as a horse's rein. Tear-I-oh, tear-I-ho, and a tear-I-hear-I-hear-I-ho. Lilted a song to each spark and each flame, the O'Halloran sisters from the county of Clare. And they went to the well and they went to it right. They filled up their flagons, was a wonderful sight. Hauled and they trolled it through glen and through road, and put it together in a big metal pot. And they boiled up the water and boiled it up right. It hissed and it bubbled all through that dark night. Though they were tired, they each held their own, and waited for morning till the landlord should come. Tear-I-oh, tear-I-oh, and a tear-I-hear-I-hear-I-ho. Waited till morning for the landlord to come, the O'Halloran sisters from the county of Clare. bastards did came with bailiffs and soldiers and poor policemen. When they got closer, those sisters let fly, and hot boiling water came down from the sky. Fight only lasted for 1 hour or 2. A guard broke a window and put his gun through. She grabbed at his rifle and aimed it out front, and they scattered away like the hares on the hunt. Diddly died and died and died, oh, dee died and died and died, oh. Diddly died and died and died, oh, dee died and died. They were arrested and put into jail. Their neighbours did squat their land, stopping its sale. And freed at 6 months, they were sold back their right. A victory hard won and the land war fight. Tear-hi-ho, and a tear-hi-ho. Freed at 6 months, they were sold back their right. The O'Halloran sisters from the county of Clare. The story's a message for what we must do. For eviction's now history, it's awfully new. Each person deserves a dry roof and a floor, and never a bailiff a knock in the door. It's a crime that there's buildings so empty and dead, and the police will stop you from laying their head. Protecting the assets are rich with their guns. The system does not care for those who have none. Tear-hi-ho, and a tear-hi-ho. Each person deserves a dry roof and a floor, and never a bailiff a knock in the door, and never a bailiff a knock in the door, and never a bailiff a knock in the door.
The song we're listening to now is from a really nice psychedelic folky album by a guy out of Aberdeen, actually, who goes by the name Kitchen Cynics. The whole album's really beautiful, actually, and this specific song I'd maybe recommend going back and listening to it when I'm not speaking over the top of it, but it's quite a comedic, satirical song where he's mocking entrepreneurs and the kind of corporate culture where people have jobs that exist solely to extract money and don't really serve any purpose apart from that. The next song we're going to put on is from that same Peggy Seeger album as the Women's Union song we played earlier. This song is called Woman on Wheels, and it tells a really great story. It's such a sassy song. It tells a really great story of a woman in a wheelchair who goes to take part in the protests at Greenham Common. For those of you who don't know, Greenham Common was one of the bigger anti-nuclear protests in the UK, and it was mainly a women's protest where they held a series of peace camps over the span of almost 20 years. There were hundreds of arrests during these protests, but one of the most memorable actions that they held was at one point they created a human chain of 70,000 women surrounding the entire site. And another kind of success story, I guess, like that RAF base is now common land again. But yeah, anyways, the song you're about to hear tells the story of a woman in a wheelchair who is going along to one of the protests one day, and the police immediately pick her out and start mocking her, joking that they won't be arresting her today and that she won't be able to cause any trouble here. So the woman goes away and forms a bit of an affinity group with some of her other friends who are also in wheelchairs, and they come back that evening with their bolt cutters, snip the fence and break into the military base. towards the end of the song, she sings this line that I really love, explaining how disabled people experience this world in a way that no one else does, and that makes their voices invaluable.
Yeah, I think that serves as a good reminder that if you are part of any movement, like pushing for social change where like disabled people's voices don't hold equal power, then there is still a lot more work to do.
I'm a woman on wheels, but I still got my brain. I'm gonna tell you how it feels to be your own railway train. Roll down to the corner, put on your brakes. I'm gonna tell you what it takes to be a woman on wheels. Roll on over the holes, the bumps and cracks, roll on. Remember that day we were running for the train and my tire went flat? Roll on. That man over there, the one under the hat, trying so hard not to stare. You get used to that, still it's better than looking away. You get that every day, a woman on wheels. Roll on, pity me and I'll pity you, roll on. Now let's talk about some of the things that you can't do. Roll on. When it comes to curbs, when it comes to stairs, I've got my special words, and I don't mean prayers. When it comes to the shops, to reach the merchandise is a major exercise for the woman on wheels. Roll on, I want a chair that can levitate, roll on. Race up ramps, run down stairs, wouldn't that be great? Roll on. I went down to Greenham, I was cutting the fence. Cops pulled me out of the way. Then they waded in, said you'll never get arrested, a little lady like you. I says, who are you talking to? I'm a woman on wheels. I said, hold on, I've got my rights to demonstrate, roll on. Next time I went down, I took a dozen bolt cutters and a dozen wheelchair mates, roll on. I want to be alone, but I'm always under care. I've got this urge to roam. Me and my chair, we're together for life, not together for love. And there's things I need more of. I'm a woman on wheels. Roll on, so many places I can't go, roll on. Lie in a field with the flowers, or walk on a beach with the sand between my toes, roll on. Well, I need you, but you need me, to tell you about a different view of the world you see, about the pain I feel, about the fight I've won, about how to do some little things you think can't be done. Roll on, with the deaf and blind, the lame and halt, roll on. There's money around, could help us all. It's a crippled system, holds us back, keeps the woman on wheels off the mainline track.
This is a song by another song by Jim Garland, the same guy who wrote I Don't Want Your Millions, Mister. It's called How About You? Take one, How About You? How well I do remember how class struggle brought me through. I went out on strike in 32 and brought the thugs against me and the state militia too. and they kicked me in the gutter. How about you? How about you? How about you? Can't you see this system's rotten through and through? It gives millions to the bosses, the capitalistic few, but enslaves the toiling masses like me and you. We know the boss won't like it to work like me and you, but there is one thing he can always do. He can jump in the lake if he wants to and break himself in two, but he cannot rob us workers like me and you. Well, how about you? How about you? Can't you see this system's rotten through and through? It gives millions to the bosses, the capitalistic few, but enslaves the toiling masses like me and you.
The song that's playing now is from an album that I hold very, very dear to my heart. The song is called Jesus, from the album Folk Songs and Ballads by Tia Blake. And yeah, it's definitely one of the albums that has meant the most to me this past year, and that I've probably played the most. Yeah, I don't know. If there's one thing you take away from this mix, I would really love it to be that you go off and listen to this album. I'd love to tell you more about it, but I feel like I'd been doing it an injustice, so I'm just gonna shut up and let the music play.
Green, white, pink or yellow, I don't care, 'cause he's my fella sitting on the dashboard of my car. I don't care if it rains or freezes, as long as I got my plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car. Going 90, it ain't scary, 'cause I got the Virgin Mary sitting on the dashboard of my car. I'm in the backseat singing Jesus, up there grinning, sitting on the dashboard of my car. Green, white, pink or yellow, I don't care, 'cause he's my fella sitting on the dashboard of my car.
Down to the word market in the vaults of the city, because I wanted to buy a pre-packed frozen slab of a ready-mixed democracy to fill the hungry heart-shaped space floating inside of me, where the anguished murmurs, helpless cries disturb my privacy. So I joined the queue at the front of the hall for the paperweight man on the democracy stall. I wrote down my name, age, height and weight and placed my order in triplicate. The paperweight man overruled my fears and fitted me with soundproof ears. The heart-shaped ache began to fade and I was as happy as the hit parade. God bless democracy was my prayer as I joined the peaceful demonstration in Trafalgar Square. Obeyed the maze of one-way signs, wrote my usual letter to the Times, cast my vote for the pantomime dame and took my partner for the no change game. And there above, behind it all, came a voice from the Law and Order stall, where the man in velvet gloves declaimed, Law and order must be maintained, Law and order must be maintained, Law and order must be maintained, Law and order must be maintained. That's right, Law and order must be maintained, and we'll smash the slob who can't be trained.
Come all you young rebels and list while I sing. For love of one's country is a terrible thing. It banishes fear with the speed of a flame, and makes us all part of the patriot game. My name is O'Hanlon, I'm just gone 16. My home is in Monaghan, and there I was weaned. I was taught all my life cruel England to blame, and so I'm a part of the patriot game. 'Tis barely 2 years since I wandered away with the local battalion of the bold IRA. I read of our heroes and wanted the same, to play out my part in the patriot game. They told me how Connolly was shot in a chair, his wounds from the battle all bleeding and bare, his fine body twisted, all battered and lame. They soon made him part of the patriot game. This Ireland of mine has for long been half free. 6 counties are under John Bull's tyranny, and still De Valera is greatly to blame for shirking his part in the patriot game. I don't mind a bit if I shoot down police. They're lackeys for war, never guardians of peace. But yet as deserters I'm never let in. Those rebels who sold out the patriot game. And now as I lie with my body all hose, I think of those traitors who bargained and sold. I'm sorry my rifle has not done the same for the quislings who sold out the patriot game.
That song you just heard is called Patriots Game, which is from an Old Folkways compilation called the Irish Rebellion album, which is a collection of really good rebel songs from Ireland. The next song we play is actually also from that same record, which is another kind of quite satirical, funny song called Join the British Army. After we listen to that one, we're going to play the final two songs of the mix, which I think you could call both of them anthems of protest music. The first is Solidarity Forever, an absolute classic in my eyes. It's from that same Bobby McGee record as the Bread and Roses song we heard earlier. And then the song we're going to play after that is We Want the Land, which is from the same Land Workers Alliance compilation we spoke about earlier. I hope you enjoy both of those. I'm sure, I know, every time I play them I have them stuck in my head for weeks after, so I hope you enjoy pottering around your house whistling those.
Thank you so much for listening to the mix. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and have a lovely rest of your day.
They're looking for monkeys in the zoo, and if I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. When I was young, I used to be the finest lad that you ever did see, and the Prince of Wales, he said to me, go and join the British Army. Tooraloo, they're looking for monkeys in the zoo. If I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. Sarah Connellan baked the cake, she baked it just for slattery's sake, but I threw myself into the lake, pretending I was balmy. Tooraloo, 'twas the only thing that I could do to work me to get back to you and stop the British Army. Captain Healy went away and his wife got in the family way, and the only words that she would say was blame the British Army. Tooraloo, they're looking for monkeys in the zoo. If I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. Captain Healy's a terrible drought, just give him a couple of bottles of stout and he'll bait the enemy with his mouth and save the British Army. Tooraloo, they're looking for monkeys in the zoo. If I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. Now me 7 long years are done and I'm handing in me carabine gun to give to some other mother's son and stuff the British Army. Tooraloo, they're looking for monkeys in the zoo. If I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army. Tooraloo, they're looking for monkeys in the zoo. If I had a face like you, I'd join the British Army.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never toiled to earn, yet without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel could turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Smoke in the lanes, the villages left empty by commuter trains. Want real rural life, not a picture postcard. And we want the land. We are farmers and crafters and we're hard-working souls, but we don't want employment or to do what we're told. Want to build a new future with our own hands. And we want the land. Well, we can't pay house prices and we can't pay the rent. We can tow our old trailer, we can put up a tent. We can make the farmhouse and fields our new homes if we had the could work fields by hand from morning till late, without combines or tractors or glyphosate. We wipe barren wheat acres away with our sweat if we had a land. And the woodlands could ring with the sound of the axe. We carry cartloads and vanloads and loads on our backs, and we take what we needed and let it grow back if we would bristle with work life once more. Boots jumping, they're spinning on the old pub floor, and the late bus to town wouldn't run anymore if we had the scrap metal on floorboards and fresh coppice wood, we built a ramshackle England where the old one once stood. And it wouldn't be perfect, but it would be good if we had the land. So if you feel what I'm singing or you just hate your job, you're like, man,